Alex's thanks to all of the folks that were involved, and I do want to particularly thank Alex for his leadership on the legislative fight, because it really showed, he was really able to show and bring the folks together that we actually have an incredible case to make about why this amendment is so damaging to North Carolina. I'd like to talk a little bit more about the harms that Alex touched on. He touched on a couple. And as Alex mentioned, this amendment goes far beyond just defining that a marriage is between men and women. As he listed a couple, and I'd like to add a few of my own. As you know, this does prohibit marriage equality, which incidentally is already prohibited by law. We all know that. And even if this amendment fails, it's still going to be illegal in North Carolina. The only reason that our opponents, as Alex mentioned, put this in is to make sure that it stays illegal and that it's even more difficult for us to make a change in the future and have marriage equality. But it doesn't stop there. This amendment prohibits civil unions as well. A recent poll from the Elon University showed that the majority of North Carolinians across age, race, and gender support some sort of legal recognition of same-gender couples. That, I think, will be a key to our victory. Because if this amendment passes, it would take even civil unions off of the table. Next, this amendment would eliminate domestic partnership benefits to thousands of city and county employees across the state, straight or gay, who now enjoy this option. It would mean cities and counties would not only be required to terminate those benefits, but they would lose a powerful tool to make themselves more competitive as they attempt to attract new talent. So those are the things that we know is going to happen. These are the things that we believe are going to happen as well. Alex mentioned the impact on domestic violence protections, and I don't think that can be understated. But child custody and visitation rights for unmarried couples, again, straight or gay, would be negatively impacted by this amendment. Right now, the marital status of a couple is not by itself taken into consideration by the court when they are deciding the custody and visitation of children. Instead, the child's best interest is what the guiding principle is for the judge. However, with this passage, if this amendment passes, that would change. Courts may interpret this amendment in such a way that they would be required to take the marital status of a couple into consideration. In the worst case scenario, a parent may in fact be denied a relationship with their child at all, based solely on the marital status of the parent. The state would also be prohibited from granting second parent adoptions, again, because heterosexual marriage would be the only legal union recognized in the state. As Alex mentioned, the straight couples and seniors who have decided not to get married may have to make medical decisions or hospital visitation for their partners. That's going to be affected under this amendment. Right now, unmarried couples can draft medical directives or power of attorney documents. But what if hospitals refuse to recognize them? Finally, it would have a serious impact on wills, trusts, and end-of-life directives. How? In many states, the absence of a spouse or a child in the case of a death, the domestic partner is considered the person in the best position to ensure that the wishes of the deceased are carried out. If the state constitution specifically states that only a marriage constitutes a domestic legal union that is valid or recognized, then it could be argued that an unmarried partner has no authority to act on behalf of their late partner. It happened in Nebraska. The Attorney General of Nebraska determined that because of the state's constitutional amendment that prohibited recognizing same-sex relationships, domestic partners did not have the right to determine the disposition of their partner's remains. It's pretty scary stuff, isn't it? That is why it is so important that everyone in this room knows how extreme this amendment is, and that you tell every person you know in North Carolina to vote against it in May. The good news is that we are assembling an awesome team and coalition to defeat this amendment. I want everyone to understand that this is going to be a battle of historic proportions. But I do believe that it's winnable. And here's why. First, the vote will be in May and not November, as Alex indicated. If you've been watching the Republican presidential campaign, you can see that several of the candidates are doing their best to self-destruct. One of them is my former governor, Rick Perry. What that means, as Alex indicated, that in May, it really is not going to be a contested primary. I'm very confident that the GOP nomination will be settled, so that there'll be no more reason for Republicans to go to the polls than Democrats. That means we will have an even playing field. And whoever can get the most voters out on election day will win. Second, the language in the amendment is so extreme that even folks like Representative Renee Elmers, who is a very conservative Tea Party Republican from Central North Carolina, has announced that she's going to vote against it. Now our task, all of us, everyone in this room, will be to educate the voters of North Carolina so that they know that regardless of how you feel about marriage equality, this amendment is just bad for our state. Finally, and most importantly, we will be building on the broad coalition that Alex outlined that came together during the legislative debate. People of all faiths and communities and color, the business community, progressives, will be coming together to fight this amendment. I continue to be amazed at the incredible talent that I've been meeting and of the folks that have been coming to the table. And I think you're going to see a representative sample of that during our keynote address and panel this afternoon. You should know that this coalition has been meeting on a weekly basis since September. We've recently hired Jeremy Kennedy, who's standing right there. Jeremy comes to us from Maine, where he has been active on several ballot measures, including the one in Maine and Rhode Island, several political campaigns, and as a field director for the Democratic Party in Maine, and as a field coordinator for HRC. So he comes to us with a wide range of experience. Over the coming months, the campaign will be training and mobilizing volunteers, educating the people of North Carolina, and raising money to get the word out about the harm that this amendment will do. This will be an effort unlike any that the state has seen. We will be knocking on doors, making phone calls, taking to the airwaves, and talking to our neighbors to make sure that everything that we can do is being done to defeat this amendment. While many pieces of the campaign are still coming together, we will soon be launching a website where you will be able to go to sign up to volunteer and find out more about the campaign. You should be visiting that website often, as it will be an important source of information, action items, and ways for you to get involved. So the state of equality in North Carolina right now is precarious. We have a tremendous amount of work to do, and we will need everyone in this room to donate your time and your energy, and most importantly, your vote in May. If that happens, we have what it takes to win. We've defied expectations before. Everyone told us that we couldn't pass an anti-bullying bill, but we did. Everyone told us that this amendment would be a walk through the legislature, but they won by only one vote. Everyone said that it would be on the November ballot, but we were able to get it moved to May. And everyone said that we couldn't bring a diverse and committed coalition together, but we did. So my message to you this morning is to get out there, get involved, get your friends, your neighbors, your family, and coworkers involved. And let's once again prove that we can defy expectations and defeat this divisive and discriminatory amendment in May. Thank you.